Alright guys, TouchGrubber here, back again today. Hope you're all having a fantastic Monday. Looking forward to the week ahead. Plenty to discuss today. Want to talk some Rostermania related to the substitutes, some issues in Modern Warfare, some stuff that I wish I didn't have to discuss, but we genuinely have to tackle it legitimately and on an open mind, whether this stuff's actually legit. Then I wanted to talk about the 2K that concluded yesterday on the Sunday, the results of that, and also some drama surrounding, you know, were people scumbagging other teams, were people playing, you know, and basically abusing in-game glitches to get free wins is the crux of the issue. So that's today's video. Like if you guys enjoy it, subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Let's hop right into it here. So the Gaming Revolution YouTube says, I find it really interesting because of the Q&A, which apparently is still coming. One of my sources told me that skill-based matchmaking was originally forced by Activision to incentivize people to buy supply drops, MTX, which stands for microtransactions, of course. So yeah, this is very interesting. The Gaming Revolution's done a lot of leaks surrounding the game. They released a survey recently. I think Activision released a survey saying, you know, what would make players come back and play the game again. Saw some funny replies to this, like say you added doors to the buses on Piccadilly. That might bring me back into the fray. Interesting question though, for sure. Wonder if you guys have any thoughts on that in the comment section below. But this was the exchange that he is referring to here. So Digital Veil tweets a Drifter and Prestigious Key saying it essentially confirms. No, it doesn't essentially confirm. There's a couple of gameplays that Prestigious Key has. I've watched this video. I'll leave it linked down below for you guys to make your own decisions. Effectively, he buys a pack. So he buys, like, he pays some money to get a new skin for his weapon, for his Odin, and maybe some other things alongside it. And the rumor is, at least, that you get put, after buying that, into lower skilled lobbies so that those players will be incentivized to think, oh, if I have that really good weapon variant that he's paid money for, I'll be as good as this guy. And that kind of psychological thinking, which would essentially be incredible if that's actually true. I would not put it past Activision Blizzard by any means to be exploiting consumers as much as this. Honestly outrageous if this is true, but as I say, not, you know, no assumptions being made necessarily, but his video is quite explicit in, especially if you guys have played the game with decent KDs, the normal lobbies you would expect compared to the lobby that Prestigious Key gets put in here is, it's honestly is night and day, and you can see that from what he says as well. So I don't know what's going on, but as soon as I bought some items, I was getting crazy weird matchmaking. Even in my video, I'm just walking right up to people and they don't shoot. As I say, you can check this down below. And this is what supposedly Prestigious Key's source told him before. So Dead Silence was a perk at the time in alpha development. This was changed because Dead Silence is overused in all previous CoDs. So that's one statement that comes out with. And I guess that shows that they have no incentive or no reasoning right now to change it back. Was it overused in previous CoDs? I really don't think it was, but, you know, that's their decision, I guess. Our skill-based matchmaking was not out in place to help people. It was put in place to take money from bad kids. This is what an insider at Infinity Ward supposedly is saying about the situation right now. Definitely implying here, if you look at this, that look, this skill-based matchmaking is in place in some regard to take money from bad kids, implying, or at least you can relate that to this tweet, right? You can relate that and say, well, if someone pays money to get a good gun, let's put them, or not necessarily a good gun, the gun doesn't change at all as far as I understand, but it's a different camo, different variant, I suppose. And, you know, if they're going to buy that, let's put them in lobbies with really bad kids so that those guys go to their mum and dad and get their credit cards to buy the same weapon because they don't understand the game in the sense that the more experienced players, the better players do, that actually realize that this gun's not giving this guy any advantage, if you see what I mean. So why would you put him in that lobby? Why don't you put him in another lobby? Which really, if this is true, it's honestly pretty outrageous. Wouldn't put it past Infinity Ward, or not Infinity Ward, Activision Blizzard, of course, by any means to force this through Infinity Ward. Certainly possible, but you know, as I say, there's no definitive proof. Maybe something like that will come out over the coming days, but it's definitely a feeling I've got, right? Modern Warfare is not fun to play right now at all. I guess this is just another one of the reasons why it just doesn't feel consumer focused, especially for you know, an individual who's more experienced and typically a good Call of Duty player, I guess, like myself, and I'm sure like a lot of you guys. Wanted to have some discussions here on academy teams real quick. So FaZe and likely OpTic are going to have academy teams. We've heard about London, we've heard about the Seattle Academy as well. FaZe apparently is going to be Gravity, Journey, Zaptius, Abstract, and Turnup. I think we talked about that. And OpTic, potentially Chino, Goon, Robbie, Apox, and it was Jet Li, but they got someone else, not sure who right now. So that's some updates on that academy. Fish, and also Goon isn't on Team Fellow anymore. He left for Chino's team, which probably means Goon is OpTic's substitute. I think there's been rumours that Chino might be another substitute for OpTic as well, if they're going to get 2 substitutes in. I don't think they've got any announced right now. This is the OpTic Gaming Los Angeles team, of course. Quite easy to confuse that with the Chicago Huntsmen, I find. But, you know, if this is supposedly the OpTic team, pretty interesting, and maybe these 2 guys, as being your bigger name players, are going to be the main substitutes on the OpTic Gaming team on 2-way contracts. It's definitely something to keep in mind as we go forwards. These are the results then from the 2K that happened this weekend, the 2Ks. This is the European one. I did go through the APAC one just yesterday. Doug Sensor Martin V2 come out with the win. Moose, Denza, PT, Dave and Vortex. Macat, Shawnee, Defrag, Nolson, Weeman second up. That's supposedly the London Academy team. Train Hard Esports, you know, and some other players that I'm sure you guys will be aware of here with Team 3G, a name that hasn't been around a long time. This as well, the Risk, Zach, Natche, Zeke team. So the French guys, whether they'll end up on an actual proper French organisation, kind of like they did last season, we will have to see in due course. Of course, they're on Denial for a bit, but before that they were on Overtime, maybe Esports, I think. But, you know, we'll have to see where it ends up from there. This is the one in North America then, so some big results here. Swally, Standy, Evasion, Dav, Paddy and Zinx end up winning it on Team Alpha. I'll share the clip with you guys just now of them. I'm not sure this is actually the clip of them winning, but it's them winning a hardpoint, a very important hardpoint in, I believe, the grand finals. Possibly the winning moment for this team. Very exciting.
Oh my god,
Defield.
Look at stairs.
Go mid steps.
Mid steps right now.
I have mid stairs, just stay down.
Hardpoint contest. Close on me.
I got him.
Ball.
Dead.
Shed. We shed one shot.
I need him shed.
Mid steps.
Dead.
Mid-eye boxes. Two mid alley.
I have time.
No one.
I'm stunning him, Mike. Mid-stairs got me. Mid-stairs
Top.
Watch my cross.
Shed not weak.
From mid-stairs. From rockets.
I got him.
Statue.
One more hill. Two hill.
Stack it.
Died in hill.
Burn it up.
Statue. Hole. Nice. Let's fucking go! Let's fucking go!
Good shit, bros.
Let's fucking go! I literally shat on them that
So yeah, they're absolutely loving it. Impressive victory from them, given the other kind of names here that we've seen. Not, you know, Swally's team, of course, we've heard of Swally, Evasion. These other guys I'm not too familiar with, to be honest. So impressive result from them. Obviously, that's going to matter quite a lot, potentially, in the upcoming season when it comes to pro points and allocations in terms of who's going to get funding through Activision Blizzard to actually attend the Path to Pro CDL events. Second place, Spoof, Proto, Super Panda, and M. Ruiz. Third comes Exotic, Nagafen, Parzelion, Fellow, and Royalty, a pretty impressive team there. And then Parasite's team, which definitely deserves a little bit more discussion. I believe they lost in Game 5 round 11 or something in this, to come third to fourth in this case. I think they had a bit of an issue. Spark maybe naded Ferro or something like that. There's been some rumours about surrounding Ferro here. I'm not sure if one of these players is planning to leave the team or something like that. I heard something from Crone in a tweet which I think has since been deleted. I couldn't find it scrolling through his tweets most recently, so I'm not sure if he did a tweet related to this team saying that one of the players was thinking about leaving and then hasn't talked about it since then. You know, we'll have to see going forward if anything changes on the amateur side. Most likely it will while these teams aren't signed, but Parasite has kept on tweeting out talking about how this team is still looking for an organisation for the upcoming season for you know, reasonable benefit to both sides. Colchan, Gunjar, Chino, Apox and Robbie B, an interesting one, so maybe it's Colchan what Crone is trying to talk about rather than was it Jet Li, was it Colchan? Possibly. The UYU team, of course, we've just done so well sitting here at 5th to 8th in this event, and you know, a lot of other names that you guys will know around here in this FaZe Fugazi team. So this is supposedly the FaZe Atlanta Substitute Academy roster. So let's get into this kind of drama. Tristan Spoof, of course, so he was on the team that came second this week. Resign missed you. Says Hacky and Co might be the biggest scumbags in the community. Get a firm grip. Those guys were taking rounds because of having dead silence. We were just up 10, and Casey, that's Panda, got the error code, so we finished out 4v5. And so this is my understanding. We'll go through in a second, just to go through a Parasite tweet real quick. So we got trolled 5-5. This is when they lost to end up 3rd, 4th in the tournament. GG's Seattle Academy. Thanks for the support on the stream the entire weekend. And yeah, just to note, so this team, I believe, this Reset Missed You, is meant to be the Seattle Academy, and, you know, as I say, this is meant to be the OpTic Academy. This one may well be the FaZe Academy, so keep that in the back of your mind as we go forwards. So effectively, the game, as we know right now, is not in the perfect state. It can be pretty broken, and there's some issues, supposedly, as Spoof says here, with the game code and things like that. The players got a lot of error codes, and the game wasn't in its perfect state. So they'd play a match, and sometimes the enemy team would get an error code, and they would get booted out the game, and they would be in a 4v5 situation. By the rules, by the official Gamebattles rules, you should just continue on, I think, in that situation. I don't think there's anything you can do in the rules to say you should stop the game. It's the same as what we've seen at past events, right? How something will happen in the game. Remember the classic Haggy versus Exotic, if you guys remember, at CDL or CWL at the time, Birmingham, in 2018, when it was a capture the flag game. I think Haggy's team was in the lead or something, and then the game crashed or for whatever reason, and instead of giving them an advantage, they decided to replay the entire map, or something to that effect. And definitely that exact situation has happened other times as well. And, you know, in the rules, what can you do? In Counter-Strike Global Offensive, for example, if the match stops for whatever reason and there's a technical error, you can reset the game from exactly the point you want to make sure everyone's money and everyone's weapons is back at exactly the same place and reset the score. In Call of Duty, because it's a yearly cycle game, we don't get the opportunity to do that. And that means that if there are game issues and people get kicked out the game, the only real way to do it is just to say, technically, you've got to play out the game unless you bring it to a ref's attention immediately. And then if you do that, then it will be at the ref's discretion, and then sometimes the discretion, quite often, of the other team as to what exactly the plan is here. So when in a LAN environment, technically the rules will say that, yeah, okay, it's a straight restart, even if, you know, one of the teams is up 2-1, someone disconnects, you have to restart the game. Technically that will be a restart, but one of the teams could agree to the other team and say, you know, fair enough, you're in the lead, instead of doing a restart, we'll just let you have that advantage, which is what a lot of teams haven't done in the past. Kind of what Tristan Spoof is getting at here, that yes, they were in a 4v5 situation. I guess technically it would be better, you know, if you're Haggy and Co, you don't want to just end the game, because by the rules, then the other team, Spoof's team, can say, oh, you ended it, you know, we claim the win. So playing out the game is fine, but after you've played out and won in a 5 versus 4 for you, maybe it's more ethical to say to the other team, okay, yeah, fair enough, you had a guy disconnect, let's just replay the map, even if we did have some advantage or they did have some advantage, whatever. The implication here is that Spoof's team was actually up 10 in this match and then they disconnected, so even more disappointing that a Haggy and Co go ahead and take the win. But at the end of the day, maybe this is a consistent issue throughout the night. As far as I've heard, apparently it happened to a lot of individuals. So yeah, let's just go through some tweets before we finish, or some Reddit comments before we finish off the video here. Apparently they forfeited 3 teams in the 2K so far. Can't confirm though. So yeah, interesting if that is true, but maybe a lot of teams are having this issue and they got to the point where we can't afford to keep replaying maps or wasting too much time. If the other guy disconnects, like, it is what it is, right? And a lot of the time, so yeah, judging from the comments, Haggy and Co are making teams play 4v5 when they get an error instead of restarting. You know, don't blame them, otherwise teams take advantage. The problem is every single team they're playing against is getting it. Some more comments here. Relevant team does scumbag things in desperation to become relevant. They're hardly an irrelevant team, to be honest, right now. Like, they're pretty much one of the deadliest teams in the Path to Pro amateur side of things. Just wanted to make this comment as well before you guys go mental in the comment section below. Regardless, you know, with regards to Haggy, right? Who knows if it's actually Parasite who's orchestrating these decisions? You don't know if Parasite's necessarily saying, oh yeah, like, screw these guys, the guy timed out, let's just take him down. Could it be one of the other guys on the team, right? There is, as Mr. Sixfold says, definitely some confirmation bias, I think, that goes on, where people expect Haggy at times to be doing something scumbagish or something, so any possible opportunity, they jump to that conclusion. Maybe that is the case here, which, you know, fair enough. I'm not aware of that, though, so it could be any of the other individuals on the team, could just be a team decision on the whole, but I agree, a lot of people like to pile the blame on one individual, if at all possible, and that's definitely the case here with Haggy. Whether he deserves it or not, who knows, but I'm not too sure he really minds at this point. He's just trying to do the best he possibly can in his career. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, if you did, subscribe if you're new. As always, I'd really appreciate it. It helps with the old YouTube algorithm, pumping it up there. And yeah, thanks for watching as always. Leave all your comments down in the comment section below. I'll leave the relevant links down in the description box as always. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.